So one of President Trump's lawyers is suing over a controversial dossier outlining alleged ties between Mr. Trump and Russia. Michael Cohen accuses BuzzFeed News and the opposition research firm Fusion GPS of defamation. Fusion commissioned the material, and BuzzFeed was the first to publish it.
Cohen claims allegations about him in the dossier are based upon misinformation, unnamed or unverifiable sources. The lawsuit comes as Republicans are furious with Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein for revealing closed-door testimony from the Russia investigation. She released more than 300 pages of comments from Glenn Simpson. He is the co-founder of Fusion GPS, to the Senate Judiciary Committee way back in August. To discuss it all, let's bring in CBS News Justice reporter Paula Reid, who joins us now from Washington. It's not just Republicans that are furious, Paula. The President of the United States has tweeted about it, calling Senator Feinstein sneaky. Let's start with this lawsuit, though. What are the possible implications?
Well, this is a risky move because on the one hand, Mr. Cohen is looking to the courts to restore his reputation. In this dossier, he comes across as sort of a central figure in this alleged conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. But he has consistently denied all of the allegations in this dossier. He has testified repeatedly for the House, for the Senate, saying none of this is true. He did a point-by-point rebuttal. And while some of the president's associates have been caught up and been charged in the Russia investigation, so far there's been no evidence coming out of the federal Justice Department investigation into Russia connecting Mr. Cohen to the Kremlin. So he's looking to the courts to restore his reputation. This plays in very well with the ongoing sort of conservative campaign to undermine the Russia investigation, the dossier, and anyone who authored it. But there are risks because once you take this into the courts, you open up an opportunity for people who oppose the president to try to get more damaging information about him and his associates.
I had read that some of the Russian businessmen named in the dossier are attempting to sue the firm that collected the information, but this is an attorney suing BuzzFeed, a media outlet. How difficult do you think will this be to prove?
That's a great point because, right, it's two different. First, it's the research firm, and then it's BuzzFeed. And when you're going up up against a media company that's publishing something that is so much in the national interest, sort of in the terms of intrigue, there is so much going on with the Russia investigation in the news right now. So many people are talking about it. It's going to be very difficult to argue that BuzzFeed should not have published this. In order to prevail, you need to prove a lot of things, including that what was in this was false. And in order to do that, there's a discovery phase, and both sides can request documents and certain evidence, including certain personal information from Mr. Cohen or even the president that could be used to damage the president politically. So it's not impossible. If he can prove that these are false, it will be difficult and it will be messy.
Paula, does he also have to prove malice? Like, does intent count here?
He has to prove a couple things. He has to prove that they obviously published it. We know that one's easy, but that it was false, that they knew it was false. He has, depending on the state that he's filed it in this case, it's in New York against BuzzFeed, whereas the GPS suit is a federal state. You have to look at the New York state law and prove several things. The hardest thing for him, though, is going to be that it was actually false.
All right, Paul, let's switch gears now to DACA. A federal judge in California has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's decision to end the program. What does this mean for the president and the immigration reform moving forward?
Well, in terms of what this means specifically for the president, once again, he's going to go another round with his nemesis, the Ninth Circuit. You know, the judges out there, we've seen repeatedly a lot of things that he's tried to do around immigration and national security with the travel ban and immigration. They get held up by the Ninth Circuit. But the question before this judge, it's not the final word on the future of DACA. This judge was just asked to decide, look, the president wants to roll back DACA. They want to do away with it. They have this program to phase it out. That's gotten caught up in the court. So the question this judge had to answer was, what do we do with DACA while it's being fought about in the courts? Do we let it go forward? Do we do what the Trump administration wants, which is to phase it out? Can it continue to go forward? And this judge essentially said the program should stay. Now, they don't require the administration to approve any new applications or anything, but here he's just saying, look, while you guys fight this out in the court, you shouldn't be able to phase out DACA. But again, this decision only lasts until it gets appealed to the next level. So it's very much an intermediary decision and not a hugely significant legal victory or defeat for anyone.
So what does this mean for the Dreamers, though, the people who are protected under DACA? Will they be able to stay in the U.S.?
They really just leave. They continue to be in limbo. I mean, this is certainly good for some of them, but if the Trump administration, even if they have to receive new applications for renewal, If they don't have to approve them, well, what good does that do you? It's incremental. It's certainly good maybe to get the wheels moving on some applications, but ultimately they are in limbo because this decision is only as good as it is today, and tomorrow it could be appealed and there could be a new decision. And this is just one tiny step on this long road, likely ending at the Supreme Court, to answer the question of whether or not the Trump administration can sort of roll back these promises that were made to these dreamers under the Obama administration. So it's just another day, another controversy between the White House and the Ninth Circuit will likely inevitably wind up at the steps of the Supreme Court.
Indeed. To be continued. Paula Reid, as always, thank you so much for joining us.